campaign event this evening at Tel Aviv University from Prime Minister Yair Lapid's Yesh Atid party. We expect he'll be speaking there a little later in the evening. But our correspondent Ariel Oseran is there. Ariel, tell us about what you're hearing there and the mood, upbeat perhaps, or cautiously upbeat there at the Yesh Atid rally.
Well, Calev, in fact, Prime Minister Lapid ended his remarks just a few minutes ago after singing the national anthem, the Tikva. The ceremony has officially ended, and it was a real festive event here. A lot of high atmosphere and good hopes. Lapid, when he introduced his list, 36 names, 47% of those 36 are women, 4 women in the top 10. But if we look at the headlines from Lapid's remarks, I think we can talk about what he said. He said that he mentioned the nuclear talks with Iran, indirect talks going on currently, or not really going anywhere in Vienna. And he said that we can say cautiously that Israel's quiet work managed to delay, to stop the nuclear deal. I think that's quite a lot of credit that Prime Minister Lapid is taking for Israel on this matter. Also, internally, politically, he slammed the current opposition leader Benjamin Netanyahu over his deal with ultra-Orthodox parties to revoke the necessity for teaching core studies, that's English, math, Hebrew, in order to receive funding. He slammed that deal, saying that Netanyahu is selling the future of Israeli children for political gain. Lapid saying that this list of candidates that you're seeing before you is the next governing party, coming from a place of being incumbent does make it a little easier in a political campaign, but definitely high hopes from Lapid and his party here in Tel Aviv University this evening.
And Ariel, this was his first time, really, he's running as an incumbent, and this was the big question around Yair Lapid, if the Israeli public was ready to accept him as a prime minister. Talk about just his presentation there in that regards.
Look, this is the 5th election in 4 years, and we haven't seen a clear-cut results leading to either bloc taking the lead. That, according to polls, appears to be the situation now. But people in the party, different candidates that we spoke to, are hopeful that the Israeli public will be able to see what the government, the current government, led by Yesh Atid, has been able to do for the Israeli public, saying that they hope that they'll see that this past year and a half have been a change from what they've been accustomed to under the Likud, and that they promise to show pretty much the same. Their slogan is "We came to change and we will continue to change." That is the main message coming out from here today, 49 days before the elections.
All right, Ariel Oseran there at the Yesh Atid rally in Tel Aviv University. And we do see, Carrie, so recent polls have shown a rise for Yesh Atid. There was one poll, I believe, from the Knesset channel that showed them going to 26 seats, only something like, I think, 6 seats behind the Likud. But the math just doesn't add up for Yair Lapid.
The math doesn't add up for Yair Lapid. Yair Lapid's game, in part, might be that the math might also not add up ultimately for Benjamin Netanyahu. But to the point that Ariel was making about the Haredi studies, Yair Lapid's actually been very soft on Haredim in this past election campaign in a way that he hasn't been in the past. He's much softened his position because he realizes that if he were to have any chance to form a government, he would need some participation from outside of his current bloc right now. And I think that the numbers are definitely trending that way, that Yesh Atid will not be able to form a bloc, especially with conditions that his fellow change government partners have made over the past election season, saying that they won't sit with Ram, they wouldn't sit with certain parties. And I think that he's going to have a very hard time forming this government, and his game might be defensive, preventing Netanyahu from doing the same.
It might, and that seemed to be that Netanyahu did pursue that strategy for some 2 years. Of course, I mean, the other option for Lapid, it would be the Arab parties. And the question is even a passive role, for example, the Joint Arab List. And of course, we hear, for example, Bezalel Smotrich even speaking out from the right, far right, of course, we should say, even harsher against the Arab parties today. Is there any maneuverability for Yair Lapid in that direction?
Well, as you said, the numbers don't add up, which is one reason Netanyahu doesn't promote the Orthodox to study math. So they won't know when the numbers add up. Lapid has a chance to get a so-called block, not of his own, but blocking Netanyahu. Because if the joint list, the Arab list, which is bigger than the other one, the United Arab List, if they join the coalition in opposing Netanyahu, then we may see President Herzog having to give either Gantz or Lapid the right of first refusal. They will have several weeks to try and get some of the Netanyahu bloc parties to join them. The game will still be open. But the most important participant in Lapid's rally tonight was the absentee one, Joe Biden. Biden, by not rushing to Vienna to sign with Khamenei, has given Lapid a lot of backing, because this way Netanyahu is not able to pin soft on Biden and soft on Khamenei accusation on Lapid.
Right, though that may have been more the doing of the Tehran regime than of the Biden administration. Amir Oren, Carrie Keller-Lynn, thank you for joining us on The Rundown.